I grew up watching Famous Five by Enid Blyton and graduated to reading captivating Sidney Sheldon and James Hadley Chase novels on crime and investigation. Curiosity, they say, kills the cat. But the fact remains that you cannot investigate a matter without a curious mind. And speaking on the importance of investigation, the founding father of the People's Republic of China, Mao Zedong, said, and I quote, "Investigation may be likened to the long months of pregnancy and solving a problem to the day of birth. To investigate a matter is indeed to solve it." End of quote. I am Emmanuel Okeke and you are watching NAPTIP on the Move. Thank you for joining us. The Investigation and Monitoring Department of NAPTIP is saddled with the responsibility of cracking hard cases and apprehending human traffickers, perpetrators of domestic violence and child abuse. We will bring you some of the department's efforts towards ridding the nation of human traffickers. Don't go away.
The Investigation and Monitoring Department of NAPTIP is a core component in the fight against human trafficking and violence against persons.
When we talk about Investigation and Monitoring Department, one thing you should know is what that has to do with virtually all that NAPTIP does. In fighting human trafficking by NAPTIP, there is what we call the five-prong approach: the policy, prevention, prosecution, protection, and partnership. Some departments deal with some segments of this, but investigation and monitoring deals with virtually all. Is it in policy? There are a lot of policies that they are involved in bringing up policy documents and all that. Is it in prevention, which is core? Because we must stop the traffickers from taking these people. We must disrupt their activities and rescue these potential victims before they now become full-blown victims, because we are told that prevention is better than cure. In prosecution, the prosecutor cannot go to court if the investigation has not done anything. So you don't go to court in a vacuum. So that is also our job. Is it a partnership? We must work with other law enforcement agencies, other partners, both home and abroad, to be able to do this job. So we are involved in all the 5 Ps that we are dealing with.
The department has various squads that ensures its smooth running.
We have various units which we use in carrying out operations. We have the National Monitoring Center, which is a unit. We have even the security, which deals with ensuring that everybody, both human and material resources of the agency, are protected. Ensuring that every operation that we carry out, that both materials and human resources are all safe. So that is also part of what we do. Then we also have a unit that deals with data, collection of data and making sure that our data is up to date. And we also have the forensic lab, where we try to use technology to get certain things also done. So with all of this, we use them to carry out our jobs. And it's also interesting to note that as we have the department here, we have zonal commands And in zonal commands, we also have investigation units that also carry out these activities.
In the discharge of its duties, collaboration with local and international partners is vital.
We collaborate with virtually all the sister law enforcement agencies because we can't do it alone. So we collaborate with the police, the civil defense, the DSS, the NIS, virtually all the law enforcement agencies. Well, when you talk about international partners, first of all, we work with virtually all the embassies, foreign embassies that are here in Nigeria. We also work with the UN organizations like the UNODC, the IOM, UNICEF, the Embassy of UK, of United Kingdom here. They have been our very strong allies. We have what is called the Joint Border Task Force. They are at the Lagos International Airport, and we are trying to also ensure that they come into the other international airports for a better job in those places. Without also forgetting the DFID, which is also from the UK, and the German government has also been very, very supportive. The Spanish government, they've been doing very well, and we are getting a lot of collaboration and a lot of support from them. But we can also get better collaboration than what we have now.
Fighting human trafficking and violence against persons is not without its challenges.
Many Nigerians, based on their past experience with some other sister agencies, they are finding it difficult to report crime. So it becomes a challenge to us. Secondly, some cases will come to some sister agencies and they know they should not deal with it, that they should refer. They begin to deal with those cases. And the next thing you see is that those cases don't get anywhere. If they get anywhere at all, they just take it to a magistrate court. We does not deal with human trafficking cases. And they use other legislations to deal with that. And you now hear the person has been set free, the person has been given 2 weeks jail and all that. And they would have spoiled the case. Again, you know, the criminal justice system is also very slow. But we are also working on that to see how we can shorten some of this. The issue of technology is also there because criminals themselves are using technology to do some of these things. So we need to work harder to see how we can deploy more technology in what we are doing, but all of these things also need resources. That is where the issue of resources come in. And for us, government is doing its best, but other Nigerians, other organizations should come to our aid so that we can do better than we are doing right now. Again, when you talk about international partners, they'll send information to us and say we should help them with this. And wholeheartedly, we share this information. But the reverse was the case. When we seek for this information, they are reluctant to give. But there's an improvement, especially through the EU.
The Director, Investigation and Monitoring, Josiah Emerole, shared stories of some recent cases being handled by the department.
Recently, we had to seal up a premises, a hotel at Gwagwalada, Abuja, where victims of human trafficking were being harbored. This hotel has been under our watch for some time because we have received intelligence to say that this place, girls coming and out, they are being used in that facility for some time. And as God will have it, we went to that facility and were able to rescue 13 girls who were being kept there for onward journey to Saudi Arabia, and were able to arrest some people, including the main suspect, one Hafiz Abdusalam, who had also been on our radar for some time. So we were able to go into that hotel, rescue them, got a few documents, that are helping us in our investigation right now. Then secondly, we also have been moving about trying to break the cartel that's involved in organizing foreign travels that encourage exploitation of our people. There's a case that the Hajj Commission reported to us about a company, Family Tour and Travels Limited, that applied last year to take 450 persons for the Hajj operations. And after the Hajj operations since last year, they are yet to account for 96 persons. The question is, these 96 persons, where are they? So now we have the owner of the company with us, one Mr. Wali, and then his accomplice, who he claims is just his friend. But we have documents where the man signed for the company as managing director, one Nasir. So they are in our custody and helping us with the investigation, because we need to know what has happened to these 96 Nigerians. We also have one so-called apostle mayor, who runs an orphanage, a church, and what have you, in Dede here in FCT. And the information that we have, which we're also investigating, is that he uses the orphanage for sale of babies, procuring babies and selling them to other people. So the investigation is still on, and we're almost getting to the end of it. And a lot of witnesses are also here to help us in this investigation.
He then offered a word of advice.
Nigerians should help us. We are no spirits to know what these people are. These people do not mean well for our people. They are evil men, and that they should help us to come up with information about these people who are trafficking our persons.
The job of protecting Nigerians from instances of human trafficking and acts of violence is a fight for all of society and all of government. Assist NAPTIP today by reporting suspected cases.
Human trafficking, popularly known as modern-day slavery, is very much with us, even in this 21st century. It is a crime against God and humanity. You may be thinking, this message is not for me. Think again, because if you are paying your employee through an agent, you are a trafficker. If you employ a child under 12 years as a domestic worker, you are a trafficker. If you abduct a person against their will, keep and exploit them for monetary gains, you are a trafficker. If you promise international jobs with the intention to exploit the victim sexually and for cheap labor, you are a trafficker. If you buy and sell human organs, you are a trafficker. There are so many components of trafficking with devastating effects on the victims. This victim may be your daughter, son, brother, sister, mother, or father. Let us be our brother's keeper. Join hands with NAPTIP to stop human trafficking now.
Report cases of human trafficking to these NAPTIP hotlines: 0703 00 203, 080 02 255 627847. NAPTIP, empowered to protect you.
The use of orphanages as a decoy for human trafficking and obtaining by false pretense from unsuspecting Nigerians is indeed a shame and a worrisome trend. Thankfully, NAPTIP is not resting on its oars to see this evil exploitation come to an end. Up next is NAPTIP Events. Stay with us. A two-man delegation from the United States Embassy comprising of a political officer, Mena Torres, and Adrian Long from the Bureau of Child Labor in Washington, D.C., visited the headquarters of NAPTIP in Abuja. Adrian Long spoke on the purpose of their visit.
I'm very interested in learning about the recent activities that NAPTIP's been engaged in and learning more about how you work with other government agencies. As you may be aware, the Department of Labor produces research reports. We produce a report called The Findings on the Worst Forms of Child Labor, in which we look at the different areas where child labor is occurring throughout the country. This report also notes what the government is doing in terms of their laws, their law enforcement, coordination, policies, and social programs. So we take everything that the government is doing in those areas and we give them an advancement level. So last year, the government of Nigeria received a moderate advancement in their efforts to address the worst forms of child labor, which means that we recognize the great things that the government is doing, including NAPTIP, on these issues.
Welcoming the delegation, the Director General of NAPTIP, Dame Julie Okadanli, shed light on some relevant issues.
In terms of child labor, we realize that most of the child labor, forced labor, is usually concerning children, those that are found in homes. And because of the clandestine nature of the crime, it's very difficult to tell what is happening behind closed doors in your homes unless we are given information. And then whenever we get such information, we run with it and we make sure the victims are rescued and the offenders are prosecuted. We've also beamed our searchlights on hospitals because they are carrying out some tests on girls that are being prepared to be taken out of the country to the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Dubai and Oman, under the guise of giving them jobs as house helps and nurses. This is happening, and this is a latest trend that we are struggling hard to combat. They take them out in their thousands, and we know that they are not going there as house helps or whatever they call them. And so we're struggling hard to make sure that this stops.
She also highlighted possible areas of collaboration.
There's a lot of human trafficking going on in America, in various states in America. And we would like to have joint operations with NAPTIP as well. I would like you to give us the opportunity to have joint operations with yourselves, joint investigations. Because I mean, if we're able to cut the chain, from both ends, it makes a lot of sense. We need information. Information sharing must be transparent, and total. Mutual legal assistance is also very important. If we have like bilateral agreements, for example, we can dispense with issues of repatriations and things like that. Prevention is better than cure. Awareness campaigns. There's so much awareness, that we need to do, and we need you to really support us in that area.
Some directors of NAPTIP present then addressed issues of concern to the agency. The meeting with the envoy on child labor was very successful as both parties agreed to strengthen partnership. A team from the British Council European Union-funded Rule of Law and Anti-Corruption Project led by Danladi Prong recently visited NAPTIP to deliberate on strategies to promote Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. The need for concerted efforts to ensure widespread adoption of the VAP Act and development of the project's next phase work plan were some of the issues brought to the table. The Director General of NAPTIP, Dame Julie Okadanli, promised to spread the message of the VAP Act alongside human trafficking campaigns. With the efforts of ROLAC and NAPTIP, Anambra and Ebonyi State recently signed the VAP Act into law. Executive members of the Network of Civil Society Organizations Against Child Trafficking, Abuse and Labor, NACTOL, led by its president, Adaramola Emmanuel, recently visited the headquarters of NAPTIP. The head of the delegation stated the purpose of their visit.
The last meeting we held on this table with the DG and our team, we discussed about the MOU that NAPTAL is having with NAPTIP. So NAPTAL has met and we said, okay, let's come up with a draft from our own end and then bring it over to NAPTIP, and then we'll now be able to work together. NAPTIP team, NAPTAL team to work together and then finalize the MOU. So we are here this morning to actually present the draft of the MOU from NAPTAL team.
He then presented the draft Memorandum of Understanding. Welcoming the executive members of NACTOL, the representative of the Director General, the Acting Director Counseling and Rehabilitation, Patricia Duku, responded to the issues raised. As an umbrella body for all human trafficking CSOs, NACTOR has been partnering closely with NAPTIP in the fight against human trafficking and child abuse. The Enugu State Zonal Command of NAPTIP recovered a boy of about 2 years old from his buyer in Obosi, Anambra State. We have to break protocol to reveal his face, as we plead with all well-meaning Nigerians and anyone who can identify him to please inform his parents and relations to visit the NAPTIP Zonal Command in Enugu State with relevant documents and medical records for identification and reunion. Please be informed that all documents will be scrutinized and further medical tests carried out to ascertain claims. If anyone has a lead, please call 0708 060 1803, 0708 060 1803.
This is to inform the general public that Perebi Nicole Otubo, a notorious human trafficker, is wanted by NAPTIP. Anyone with useful information on her whereabouts should contact the agency on this toll-free number 0703 0000203 or 0800 225 5627 847. You can email info@naptip.gov.ng. NAPTIP, empowered to protect you.
Coming up is a victim story segment. Keep watching.
My mother is a widow. She can't help to pay my school fees. So she gave me out to my cousin's sister to stay with her after her wedding in 2009. I started staying with her in 2010. She and her new wedded husband. So in 2011, the man started abusing me. He threatened me. He said he's going to kill me and throw my dead body in the evil forest and tell people that he didn't know where I went to. And he said he would stop paying my school fees. Every time I told him to stop, he wouldn't. I tried telling my auntie, he threatened me not to tell her. So I kept everything to myself. In 2013, we moved into Abuja. He got a job in Next Catch and Carry and he's an accountant. The sexual abuse continued. I told him I would report. He threatened me again. I don't know what to do. And Abuja is a place I've never been before. I went back to school again. Because whenever I'm in school, I don't used to be myself. As if the teachers know that I don't used to be myself. I don't used to concentrate in class anymore. I used to perform very well. I don't used to perform again very well. Because I'm always thinking. I will think that, oh, will I go home now? If I go home now, this man continue. How do I do? How do I live again? I feel like my life has finished. Sometimes I'll be in the kitchen, I'll be holding knife as if I should kill myself. So one certain Thursday, we are doing sports in our school. So I was not associating myself with my friends anymore. So I was just on my own in class. My friends were not telling me that our guardian and counselor is calling me. So I now said, okay. I went to go and meet her. She said that I should dress back in my uniform, that we're going somewhere. And I said, okay, ma. Then I went to the toilet, I changed to my school uniform. So we went to NAPTIP head office. So when they took me to that place, they were asking me, they asked me all everything that happened. I explained everything and all the things that my uncle has been doing to me and all that. I want to thank Clev. I want to thank NAPTIP, especially NAPTIP and Clev. And NAPTIP are the ones that rescued me. I say very big thank you to them. And I say may God continue to reward them and continue to bless and keep them. And I want to thank Clev also for giving me the shelter, the clothing, the water, the food and everything. If I didn't get this opportunity, I'll be in the street like other children and be begging. So thank you very much. Thank God for the counselors that counsel me. I say thank you to them. I say may God keep them alive and continue to bless them and their family.
For more enquiries and support, or to report cases of suspected human trafficking and child abuse, please call NAPTIP hotlines on 0703 0000203 or 0800-2255-627847 or email info@naptip.gov.ng. Visit our website www.naptip.gov.ng. Follow us on our social media platforms at NAPTIP Nigeria and watch our videos on YouTube.
We have come to the end of today's episode. I must urge you to please shun the culture of silence by reporting suspected cases of human trafficking, child abuse, and all forms of violence against persons to NAPTIP. I hope to see you same time next week. Thank you for watching and do join us again. I am Imanalo Kiki. Goodbye.